Good morning and happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Enrolled Agent Hub. I am your host, Timalyn Bowens, America's favorite EA. And in today's live stream, I have a special guest and we have a special treat for you. Now, if you were on Facebook or LinkedIn checking out this replay, it won't live there that long. So I want to go ahead and invite you to come on over to YouTube, to the new channel, the Enrolled Agent Hub, where there's content on all things being an enrolled agent, whether you're just starting your journey and you're studying for the exam, or if you're starting, building, or growing your EA firm, you're in the right spot. All right. So for today, we have a guest who, ironically, is not an enrolled agent at all. She's actually a CPA. And if you're familiar with me, you know my background was in public accounting. I went the traditional route and I have an accounting degree. And I don't really get into the whole EA versus CPA debate, right? I've let you all know in previous videos, podcasts, that some of the most brilliant tax minds that I know are CPAs. So if I know and have access to a brilliant tax mind, why would I keep that away from my friends and family here on the Enrolled Agent Hub? So today's guest, as I already said, is a CPA. Now, with that, yes, this guest does do some traditional accounting work, but what we can really get in the weeds and talk about all day is tax representation and tax planning. When I have a question about tax planning, even though I like to talk about it, dabble in it, that's not my strong suit. I always know that I can go to this person as a resource for help. And because it's not my strong suit, when people come to me with tax planning questions, I'm like, you know what? There's this really great community where they discuss that too, that you may want to consider joining, and it's called the Executive Touch. So, without any further ado, I want to go ahead and bring up our decorated CPA guest and founder of the Executive Touch, my friend, Mrs. Angie Toney.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You are so very welcome. Thank you for being one of my first live stream guests here on the Enrolled Agent Hub.
That's great. That's great. Thank you too.
Now, I know the people who followed me over from America's favorite EA that check out this channel, they already know you. You're not a stranger to them. But for the new channel, I didn't go through all your accolades of being one of, was it top 40 honored
So
by Forbes?
Forbes has a top 200 CPA, which was 40, but it's 200. Still good out of 66,000 plus CPAs, right?
Yeah.
So top 200 in 2024. In 2025 and 2026, they have the first ever best in state. And so I'm in the DC area and I've gotten best in state there as well on the Forbes list.
Yeah. So, like I said, I'm not making it up or being biased or one of those. Angie's an internet guru. She actually knows her stuff, folks.
Good.
So, Angie, you had to start from somewhere
Hmm.
to get those kind of recognitions and honor. For you, when did you decide, okay, not only am I going to go the CPA route, but I'm going to start my own firm? Because that's a question a lot of people have, like, is it too late for me? Can I still pivot? What did that look like for you in your career?
Yes, the first time ever in my life at 48 years old, they laid me off. Somebody told me I wasn't good enough to work with them, and it hurt. It was really an experience I never had before. And I said, never again. Start my own practice. So I thought I was going to do taxes. By the way, I hate taxes, I hate payroll. I hate anything monotonous, but I was always a corporate auditor. I'll never not be an auditor, 30 plus years. So I said, what can I do? My sister actually had an innocent spouse case. And that was the first case for free that I worked. She owed $30,000 to the IRS. And I said, she was just telling me randomly. And I said, you know what? Let me see. I said, you do know I'm a CPA, right? I said, granted, I'm not a tax accountant, but let me see if I can do better. And I stopped the garnishment on her check and was able to work her case, get it dismissed. She got the 30,000 dismissed. She actually ended in a refund by the time but I had to do 5 years of returns, amend, amend, amend.
Oh,
And
wow.
yes, and even some of the refunds she couldn't get because it was greater than 3 years. But I'm not going to name the franchise, but they did her taxes and they did it horribly. And so I said, okay. And then my husband's friend had the exact same problem, only she owed $60,000. And I took that case. It was also innocent spouse. And I said, maybe I have a knack for this. And that's how I started transitioning my firm. After I got laid off, started the firm, decided taxes isn't the only thing I wanted to do. And then I segued into representation.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
So, with that, I always tell people, and ironically, we're in extension season, and people will be like, well, there's no work, there's nothing to do outside of tax prep. And it's like, there are people with tax problems all around you. You just have to let them know what you do.
Yes, never stop talking.
Never stop talking. For the people that are new here, I am going to ask you because sometimes we can get into some taxonese, right? So maybe they're not familiar with certain rep lingo. Can you tell us what the difference is between like an injured spouse and an innocent spouse? Because I'll have people reach out to me, um, fellow tax pros, not as experienced, and they're just like, well, this person didn't work during the time period, the liability is not really theirs, they're innocent. And I'm like, well, that's not
Yeah,
quite that's not quite how it works.
right. Because the IRS is very tricky, right? They use these words and you say, I mean, I'm innocent, I didn't do it or whatever. So they'll think that it has to be innocent spouse. But technically, the innocent spouse is a person who hopefully the couple is likely to be getting divorced. They did file jointly. The innocent spouse is the one that, hey, that had nothing to do with me. I didn't even know that that income related to that person. They underreported or whatever. And it's like a contentious situation. Usually they're separated or divorcing. In the injured spouse, we're still filing jointly. We like each other. We want to be together, but that had nothing to do with me. I still want to do my thing and I want my refund related to my work and what I did. So it's a little bit different. And the nuance is the relationship, how they are with each other.
Thank you for breaking that down because I know some people too are like, well, I really don't want to do audits, so I can't do rep work. And I'm like, that's really an examination, but no need for the technicalities here. But there is
Exactly.
so many different avenues that you could specialize in doing rep work. Before I go any further, I do want to remind our folks that if you are on LinkedIn, we can't see you unless you comment because StreamYard and LinkedIn have some strange relationship. So we do have Desmond Hudson over on LinkedIn. He said,
Sweet.
awesome. Thanks for being on, Desmond.
Good
But
stuff.
yes, if you were on LinkedIn, we can't see you. Whereas if you're on YouTube or Facebook, we can see you're there, but we can't see who you are. Um, but yeah, thank you for that breakdown, Angie. And it's always funny because for me, starting in public accounting, tax prep in the way that people think about it, basic 1040s, I didn't do that till I was on my own.
Okay.
So that was one of those things that I had to like, it was self taught because of the, I guess you could say, bigger complexity of it. So when I came out on my own, I'm thinking, do I really like taxes? I was like, no, I like what I was doing, like the planning, like the puzzle and the problem solving part of it. With you coming out on your own and getting those first representation cases kind of put in your lap, how did you figure out that you like tax planning as well?
Right. So, because once you fix the problem, you're in the representation case, you fix the problem. Now, what do we do? They actually were trying to save taxes in the first place, some of them when they got into the problems. So now let's put them in the proper. I feel like it's a natural segue into planning because you're not going to just drop the person. This is follow on work that you can get and continue with this client. And now you're building a really sustainable practice. Instead of going out and always looking for new clients, this could potentially be a client that turns into a planning. It can be a one time thing or a maintenance plan.
Yeah, and it's funny to me how people are with their mindset
Hmm.
because you said that it makes sense to me. I, haven't been in the game if we include your corporate experience as long as you have, but I got a little time under my belt. It makes sense to me, but people get stuck on, well, if they couldn't pay the IRS, they can't pay me. How are they going to pay for a tax plan? How do you tell or advise, I should say, people to look for the folks that can pay them?
Yeah. So
I'll
it's
give
going to
my
be,
2 cents later.
yeah.
I'll,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'll,
Because it's a hit or miss, right? So a
mhm.
lot of times when we're starting out, it's like, yes, 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 yes to everybody because you feel like you need the money to keep your practice going. But eventually you're going to hit a sweet spot where your clients are going to come from. A lot of them are cash flowing. Guess what? A lot of businesses, even new startups, are making money. Period. They got the cash flow. They just don't have the knowledge financially to do what they need to do. You have to find where those people are. And if there's anything close to a magic bullet that you can get, it's networking. You have to get out and talk to people. You're going to find people who are in business and want what you have. And then you're going to talk about it, but not just that. Let's say they hire you. You have to knock it out the park. You knock it out the park, they start talking. They're a walking billboard for you, actually. And that's how it's going to keep, that's if you're growing organically. Some people want to do the marketing and the advertising and this, but like what you're doing, a podcast, writing articles, speaking at events, those things are going to get you noticed. But truly doing great work is going to bring new people and bring back the same people.
I agree. Referral marketing is how I started out. It's how I built a solid foundation because somebody else saying that I do great work speaks volumes louder than
Hmm.
I can have a podcast, but who cares if I don't have any validation for the
Exactly.
podcast?
Yes. You have to be credible.
Yes, and I think too, going back to the mindset, like you said, I think a lot of people don't like to go out to network because they don't believe that they can do what they say they can do in the
Timalyn,
rep and tax world.
this is a people business. So you have to like people. And I get it. A lot of people just want to sit behind their computer. There's going to be a limit. All right. There's only so much you can do behind the computer. You have to get out there and meet people and talk and so on. So yes, that certainly is an issue.
So one of the cool things, I'm trying to think, we didn't meet in 2021. We were at the same conference in 2021 in
Yes.
Florida. I'm trying to think when we actually got a chance to meet though and talk. So I feel like we talked on Zoom first and
Yeah.
you were sharing with me your heart about helping other tax professionals. And it was just like, I get it. I know what you're talking about. Because when you come out here as an EA, because it's not the same traditional path as getting your CPA license, you don't automatically get certain access to mentorship. And for those who aren't familiar, like when you get the CPA license, and it's a little bit different with each state,
Yeah.
but when you get the CPA license, like you have to have worked under somebody for a little bit. So you already grow up in a process of having somebody to reach out to that you can ask questions. Whereas with the EA exam, the barrier to entry is lower to be able to yet do amazing work, but you kind of feel isolated. Well, you can feel isolated and alone because it's like, well, who else is doing this? It doesn't see me as competition that I can
Mm.
collaborate with. And I can't remember if it was called the Executive Touch at that time, but you were telling me about this community that you wanted to build.
Mm-hmm.
So, as we're talking about this, and like I said, when people, whether they're on here now and not commenting or they're listening to the comments, they may be thinking, that's all fine and dandy for you, Angie, and for you, Timalyn. Maybe you have the confidence, maybe you have the cases falling in your lap, but I don't have that or anybody to talk to. You've created a solution with the executive touch. So, with your community, do you mind sharing? And I know the conversation we had was years ago, but kind of why you created that, your heart for that, and what it looks like now.
Even though it was years ago, it's still forefront in my head, right? We're still building and building. This community, people know they need this. They need to talk. Taxes are so non-scientific. I mean, yes, there's some technical codes and steps that you can follow, but so subjective sometimes. You can do this or you can do that. Like maybe this is an innocent spouse, maybe it's an offer, maybe it's installment rate, maybe it's something else, And so when you're talking and you bring it to the stage, Timalyn might say, "Hey, if it were me, I would do X, Y, Z." Angie would say, "If it were me, I would do this," and another professional would do it a different way. And then you get to have these great minds to bounce things off. It's such a great feeling. I wanted to do this because I know people need it. I took the what you call the AICTP's tax planning course, right? How to become certified tax coach or whatever. And I did it during the pandemic, and I came out, and what I found were a lot of people took that, or let's say it's on the representation side, they took Eric Green's course or Mike Rosbrook or whatever, and they come out with these courses and they're still twiddling their thumbs like, I don't know what to do. Theory is one thing and practice is another. You need to implement what you just learned. And I find these people have this imposter syndrome that we want to break down. So when you have other pros, you can validate yourself, confirm that what you're doing is the right thing, and then you don't feel so nervous because you have the community to bounce this off. So yes, it didn't start as the executive touch and it just blossomed into that because I feel we want to be executives, but we're missing that little thing, the next level to bring our firms up, grow up, and behave as the executives that we are. That's why I really created it.
So, and just to clarify, um, do people have to be like have a certain credential or have been in the business a certain amount of years to be able to join this community?
So we have 3 different levels, and even the entry level is good for anybody. But you don't have to be credentialed, but we do encourage it. We encourage people because first of all, you can't represent without being credentialed. And that's
Mm-hmm.
half of the program. But some people are not interested in the representation, they're interested in the planning side. You don't have to be credentialed to be a planner. But we want you to love yourself and be the best at what you are. And when you're a lay person, laypersons respect credentials. That's a fact. If you're not an EA, it's just not the same. I have to say that. You're just not that professional that's committed to your profession to deliver top quality work. And that's why I encourage the credential.
Okay. So, for our listeners, if you're studying for the EA exam, if you're finishing up your hours and you got one more year of an internship before you can sit for the CPA exam, you can still join this community. Now, I've been in the community like on, um, well, there are different types of calls. So let me back up
Yes. Mm-hmm.
because you have the board meetings,
Yes.
you have the calls with the guest, and then you have I would call them support calls. So where
Yeah.
somebody can bring like a planning case or a rep case.
Hmm.
With that, I've come against people who are like, well, I don't want to listen to everybody else. And I'm like, but there's so much value in looking at somebody else's case because you're going to realize there were questions you didn't know you should be asking
You
of
see?
yourself and the client when you watch somebody else go through. How did you determine the balance between the types of calls that you would have?
Yeah, so we try to do, we have to have the Wednesday calls or the representation. The Friday calls or the planning, even though we mix it up. If no one has a representation class question on the planning, we're gonna talk planning. But if we have representation, we're gonna talk representation. But I do try to have the two specifically. The board meeting, I try to bring in different guest speakers so we can have practice management and other issues related to clients or things that are not necessarily a case. So those go really well too. And then we'll introduce products that will make your life easier as a professional. So we balance it that way. And then we're trying to do more and more credited offerings like Jamaica, right? When we go to the retreat, we'll offer 6 credits or more or whatever. And the strong finish is huge at the end of the year. We try to finish big, right? And close on some planning cases or so forth. And so that ends up being really, really great for the people.
So I don't remember this part, so you'll please correct me if
Yeah.
I get it wrong. Um, with the 3 levels, there is a level that also has access to previous um,
Hmm.
trainings that are eligible for CE. So, for example, you mentioned Jamaica. If you all don't follow me or Angie T yet, go to our go to our pages, hit that follow button so you stay in the loop. Angie hosts a retreat in Jamaica. This past year was the third one,
This was the third one only because we had
the
a
storm.
hurricane last year. Yeah. But this is
Yes.
the third. Hmm.
So she hosts an accounting retreat in, I'd say tax and accounting. There's a nice mix of tax accounting and retreat in Jamaica each July. And I've had the privilege of going twice.
Yes.
I went to the very first one and I went to the one this past July here in 2026, where you get to, and I hate to say like minded professionals because that kind of sounds cliche at this point, but like-minded in the sense of everybody wanting to grow, wanting to do things ethically, wanting to do things efficiently, right?
Hmm.
Because nobody wants to die at their desk. And it's not a huge 2,500 person conference like a forum or anything like that. So you truly get to know the people that you're there with. You get to break bread with the people that you're there with. But in addition to that, I would even say that the continuing education is more workshop model. You
Hmm.
can actually work through things so you have your checklist of what you need to implement when you get back home. Could have implemented it in Jamaica, but we wanted to enjoy Jamaica. So,
Because that's part of it. It's a retreat. So let's not get that twisted.
yes, Angie is very intentional in balancing out the days. So, you are getting days of CE, but then you are also enjoying Jamaica.
Yes.
Um, and you're getting authentic Jamaica when you go with Angie, not just tourist attractions.
Right.
So for people who go on the trip and do all that, that is, I don't remember what the main levels are called. What is that level?
Oh, so you don't even have to be a member to come to the retreat. So the retreat is on its own landing page. People can come. If you are a member, we discount you the cost of the conference of the credits. And so you get to come in without having to pay extra on that. But you get to, it includes your lodging, all your meals, a couple of excursions, anything else that we have extra going on at the retreat. I want you to come there and not think. I want you to come there and just go where I point you. Go there, do that, and come back with this, and that's all we do when we go. And isn't the food great? Like we have these great collaborations during those meals.
Food is amazing. My husband didn't want to get on the plane to come back home
See that?
because Angie
Made it
shows
a
us a
monster.
really good time.
Yeah. That was
He
great. See,
ate.
you can bring your family, right? You can
Mhm.
bring your family. And as we grow, I'm adding a financial literacy piece to it so lay people can come too. People just want to retreat and they don't have to necessarily do the conference, but they enjoy the retreat.
That's awesome. So
Mhm.
Glenn G hopped on LinkedIn as well. He said, "I'm loving the conversation. Thank you, Glenn, for hopping on." Um, this was a while ago. Desmond had said he agrees so much theory versus practice.
Exactly.
Um, and I try to tell people it's like when you graduate from college. You could have graduated with all the honors, but if you didn't have an internship, you don't know
No,
anything.
no.
You you
You
pass your
learn by
driver's license.
doing. Yes.
Yes.
Hmm. You
I
learn
tell
by doing.
people when I got my driver's license, I thought
That
I
too.
was it. In hindsight, I should have not been on the road.
Me too. Ditto. I actually had an accident like the third day after I got my license in New
Oh
York.
no.
New York. Yeah, it wasn't my fault, but you're a new driver. They're gonna think it's you. So yeah, it's tough.
But just like I gave the example of having the driver's license, when you are first starting out driving and you're working towards getting that license, they've made it a little stricter now. I don't feel like I had to have as many supervised driving hours, but you're in the care of someone else. Similar to, like I was saying, for those who have taken the CPA exam, the track is built so you're in the care of somebody else, whereas EAs don't always have that, which is another reason why I was like, I have to have Angie on so we can talk about the executive touch, whether we're looking at the community or we're looking at the retreat, because the more people that you have around you for support, the less likely it's going to be that you fall and stay down.
Hmm. Exactly. Yeah.
We we all need support. And like I said at the beginning of this, planning is not my strong suit. Could I logically, and because that's what I used to do it? Sure. It doesn't give me all the oohs and ahs like rep work does anymore.
Right.
So
Exactly.
I was like, if I have access to somebody who I trust and who I know is not advising people to go buy G Wagons just because as their tax planning strategy for a business that's
Hmm.
grossing $20,000, why not have their on? Have them on. One thing that I like to make clear to my people in my community when I share your stuff or say go check out the Executive Touch, me and Angie are not competing.
No, we're
We're not
not. Well,
competing at
first
all.
of all, there are not enough of us doing this work. There's so much work for
Mm,
all of us. And it shouldn't even be looked at as competition because we're all different. And different practitioners match with different clients. And so it should never be looked at that way.
yeah. There have even been times when I'm like, hey, Angie, is this something you would want to do? Or hey, do you have this person's contact info? There are
Yes.
so many people with tax problems. It's unreal. But again, we have to get out of our own head thinking, well, nobody can pay me. All these people are out here, but I don't want to work for free. Now I'll say I do more than I should for the amount I get paid sometimes, but I'm not doing stuff for free.
Hmm. Right. Not
Look,
anymore.
I'm
Yeah.
eat.
Yeah, I mean, I've done pro bono, right? We have homeless, veterans, single moms, elderly. We want to throw something to the community, and we certainly can do that, but it shouldn't be the backbone of our business. And to pick and choose. We need to learn how to pick and choose those cases, but we should all do that. We should all do a pro bono case or so, just because of the community that we're in and the people we represent. By the way, I too like representation better than planning. I find people are more grateful on the representation side, and that's why I like it better. And again, the audit brain, the way the brain thinks, I just have a knack for that versus planning.
Yes, they most definitely are more appreciative sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes, but
Sometimes.
you know what I mean. It's like, yeah,
Mhm.
I can finally sleep at night just from talking to you.
Yes, I feel like I am making a much bigger impact when I'm working a rep case. Um, for people who want to check out the Executive Touch, like the program, you mentioned that there is a Wednesday call. So that's today at 3 p.m. Eastern.
Mm-hmm.
There is a Friday call. Is that the same time? 3 p.m. Eastern?
3:30. We made that one 3:30. So it's a little later.
3:30.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then how often are the board meetings? Is there something else I'm missing? Just the
No,
board meeting.
that's correct. And generally speaking, the board meeting is the third Thursday of every month, where that's an hour and a half. So we go a little bit longer, and it's usually special, and we promote it. We record it. We don't record the Wednesday and Friday meetings only because of the confidential nature of the cases, so people could speak freely and don't feel like their information is going to get shared with others, even though we're all pros. We're all pros. Oh, hi, Denise. Yeah, I know, right? So even though people, may want to do, I lost my train of thought. I read that and I lost my train of thought. But
Oh,
my
sorry.
point is, yeah, no, those two are there for that reason, so that you can. And I don't know why. I was speaking to somebody else yesterday who also has a subscription, and we're wondering why people don't come. They do sign up and they don't come, and the problem is, you can have it running in the background. I get it. We're busy. We're at our desks, so you can have it running in the background on a Wednesday. It's created to not be come every week. You don't have to come every week. Come when you have a question. Come when you have a case you're working on. Come when you have the time to listen to other pros talk about their cases, because it's really interesting. It can run in the background, only hop on when you feel like saying something, or just listen. But I see people sign up all the time and they don't come. By the way, Timalyn, a lot of us, we know we need the CEs, we need the CPEs. Those aren't credited classes, by the way, at least usually. Once in a while, we'll have one where we throw a credit, but they're not credited. But still, people like to say, oh, I'll catch the recording or whatever. But you should really participate, because that's the only way you're going to learn and knock it out the park.
Yeah, and there's something about muscle memory. Even like for me, I can watch the presentation, but I'm probably not actively listening if I'm not writing anything down.
Yeah, you see. Okay, that's true for some
So,
people. Hmm.
yes. And again, like I said, that's me. But like you said, listening through those cases, because then when you come up against it yourself, you'll be like, wait, that was that Wednesday call. Let me go. Well, you don't record the Wednesdays, but they'll think of who it was.
Hmm.
Who can I ask who had something similar? I think Angie said do this. Whereas if you don't come,
Yeah, it's
and
true.
it's like, girl, we just talked about that last week. You weren't paying
Exactly.
attention.
And let me tell you, we throw things up on the screen. You'll see a tax return. Hey, and I do, would you take this client? We do a lot of that. Would you take this client? And I tell them about the strategy call I had that week and all the factors. I'm not trying to trick you. I just put it out there. And then you can say yes, you can say no, I don't want that client, but I do put them out there. And we really, really learn. People who are committed to coming learn. And I even had Erica. I'm going to say Erica. I won't say her last name, but she comes and she tells me, Angie, this is my 1 year anniversary working with you and being in the executive touch. And I'm like, oh my God, tears almost came to my eyes because she said how much she's grown and the amount of things she's learned on in the executive touch, and it just warms my heart to hear that.
Awesome. So if you're listening, you want to check it out, you are on the replay and you want to go check it out, the website information is up on the screen now. So if you're listening to this in the background, come run to the screen. But also, I'm posting it in the comments. So each location this is streaming on, you should be able to see it there. I may have to do it on LinkedIn separately. I'm going to give them a moment to do that because I know there is a delay. Let me see here. I forgot to turn my second screen on. I was going to pull it up really quick.
And I was going to say my marketing guy, his name is James, but we call him Foo, Foo. A lot of you probably interact with him on LinkedIn. But basically, he always has a special. He always has, okay, for this, you can have the whole year or whatever. So you may also want to email Foo at theexecutouch.com.
Let me get that. Foo at theexecuttouch.com. But I'm going to pull it up really quick. Let's see here. Sorry, I had to make us a little bit smaller. So you can see here where you can log into the portal.
Now in the portal, we share templates, how to do this, steps, different things that resources that you may need as you go along. So those things are in the forum, and that's why. And then the courses are there, of course, and you can ask questions. You can post, hey, maybe you don't want this lead. You can put it to somebody else, and they'll take it.
Oh, cool. And again, that's collaboration because you letting go of a case that you don't want to deal with opens you up to do something else.
Exactly.
My favorite. So if you need to be on the wait list for the retreat, let Foo know that too.
That's right.
But yes, we were at very beautiful villas this year. Like I said, Angie knows how to show a good time.
Yeah, so we're looking at Ocho Rios for next year, just so you know.
Okay.
Already started planning for that, so I hope it works out really well. And we're growing every year. More and more people are coming, and so we have to. I have to turn people away. But frankly, this year I had to turn people away. It was just too much. We had 41 people, Timalyn, 41 people.
Which is, it was exciting for me to see as a participant going from year one, where we had what, 12?
12 maybe? 17 with family.
With family.
But 12. 12 professionals.
But then to go to 41.
Yes.
So I can only imagine for you, if I was that excited, what it was like for you to see so many people there. Especially when it starts out as something that was like, it feels like a figment of your imagination to see it actually in real time.
It's exciting. That's how badly you want it, because it actually comes to fruition when you envision it.
So I'm pulling this back up. I didn't mean to distract you earlier, Denise. I was actually surprised to hear that too.
Really? Planning, because after a while, I start feeling, even if you save some people $1 million, they're not happy. It's something else there. When you choose planning clients, it's sort of, it's almost like, it's people who don't mind paying taxes. I can't explain it to you, but basically it's people who know they have to pay their fair share. We have infrastructure, we have social programs, we have, our highways and things that come out of tax dollars. If you're not a conspiracy theorist, that's what the money does, right? And so you have to pay your fair share. And you can tell from the clients, like when I meet with them, I can tell whether I just don't want to pay anything, or, hey, I just feel like I'm paying a lot. I'm a physician. I just make money. And every time I make more money, I pay more money. And it just, you can hear the pain, but it's not like I don't want to pay. And those make great clients because, wow, I didn't know I could do the Augusta rule. I didn't know I could hire my family members and pay my spouse in mostly tax-free benefits. Oh, I didn't know, hey, I can do these more advanced investments that will give me better rate of return and lower my taxes. That's what's really great about certain planning clients. And we're getting better and better. Sometimes we have to say, no, we're not a good fit. Like you can tell. And they give you a feeling that they're going to dispute. Sometimes we can't even get to the engagement letter because the emails are going back and forth. And what is this? And did it include that? And that? And then right after 2 times, I'm like, we're not a good fit. I know you're not going to
Yeah,
be a good client. Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I didn't mention earlier, you just reminded me, talking about advanced strategies, being in your community, it's not just EAs, CPAs, people working on a credential. You do have other people come in that are also partners, like referral partners for the advanced strategies. So as you're learning within the executive touch community, you also have access to people who can help you implement the strategy for your client. Um,
Mm-hmm.
as you were talking, I thought about David Padell with the defined
Yes,
benefit plans.
sure.
Um, I don't know why he was top of mind, but I know I'm trying to think. You have Antonio Glenn, so people want legit
Yes.
trust in estate planning where he's licensed. Like again, you have the community of fellow tax professionals and the folks to implement, so you're really not alone.
Exactly. We have to partner with people. You don't have to know everything. That's what I'm trying to say, right? You don't have to know everything about retirement. You don't have to know everything about cost seg. You don't have to know everything about entity structure. You're going to know as a professional from your accounting tax brain. Yes, you got that side covered. So now you're going to have affiliates who are going to say, well, once you put the plan together, now you know how to reach out to whomever. And let's say it's a David Podell, and he's going to say, well, a defined benefit plan with a 401k, profit sharing. This is how we're going to work on that client. And then it's just in your deliverable. And then now you introduce him. You can, be on those meetings too and help. Don't feel the client like you just drop the client, let the client go. You're going to be on those calls and help nurture the relationship with the third party. And that is really what helps that plan come to life.
Yeah. Thank you, Desmond. He added it on LinkedIn for me.
Okay, good.
Hi, Jennifer. I haven't talked to you in a little while. Jennifer said defined benefit
Yes,
plans can be so powerful.
they can. And people are always just like 401k, 401k. People are always S Corp, S Corp, S Corp. And, one trick ponies are no good. The defined benefit plan are great for your clients who are generating a lot of revenue. Give it to yourself. Give it to yourself in retirement than the IRS. It's so much better, right? And then you're saving for your future. That's where the cash should go, really. And that's why those are so powerful.
So, for context, the people who are new to you, I'm laughing because I know how you feel about S
Oh
corps
God, yes. Yes.
and the one trick pony. Just the go to. Oh, we're gonna do this tax plan. The Augusta rule is not for everybody. S corp's not for everybody. Sometimes you're gonna have them still spending too much in taxes. You usually put them in the S corp instead of a C corp.
Yes.
Um, but super cool. I don't know what the special is. Angie already told you guys. Email Foo about any specials going on right now. If you join now, you can have access to classes that were taught at the Executive Touch Retreat this year. And one of the reasons may be that David Padell was first
Because he spoke
come
first,
to
right?
mind.
Yeah.
He spoke and did, was it 50-minute? Yeah, one CE hour. He did a 50-minute session on defined benefit plans. So
Mm-hmm.
again, like Angie said, you don't have to know everything, but he equipped you to know where to start in your research and made himself available. So if that is a strategy that would be beneficial to your client, you can connect with Dave Bedell.
Yes,
I'm
exactly.
sure he'd be happy to hear from you on LinkedIn. But having access to that course so that you can see how powerful, like Jennifer said, that they truly can be for your client, then hey, there's a strategy maybe you haven't even considered or thought about. Angie did 50 minutes on um, tax planning. And of course, she told us about S Corps and C Corps.
Yeah. Mine was specifically about why the C Corp can be better for you and not just think about the S Corp.
Yeah, and the thing that when I tell people about your program or your community as well, in Angie's teaching style, she will pull a redacted tax return so fast. I'm like, how did you even redact that already? So it's one of those, like we were talking earlier, it's still theory, but you are actually getting to see what she put into practice. It's not just her talking about it. She's showing you the actual tax return. She's showing us like, okay, so what would you do? And like I mentioned before, it's more workshop style than just being talked to. If
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to participate, you probably should go to the bathroom. Um,
Yeah, a lot of these come out there and they're talking heads. They talk at you. You're on mute. You can type a paragraph into the chat, but sometimes it doesn't get answered. There's no conversation. That's why we open the floor for people to speak.
So I agree with this LinkedIn comment. It's an opportunity for young, I would say young and old, new and seasoned,
Yes.
tax professionals to increase their knowledge and practical perspective. Really insightful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that because I've been on some of your calls. So again, it's not me being biased. Like, okay, I like Angie. Go to what she has. I've been on some calls before,
Yes.
and she has people who are on in different um, not cycles, but different seasons within their career
Mm-hmm.
because corporate experience going into this is going to give you a different perspective than starting out on your own. Even for me, working 3 seasons in public accounting is different from somebody working 3 busy seasons in public accounting at a local firm. When it comes to practice management, best practices. So when we all collaborate together,
Yes.
we have this stronger ability to get stuff done because again, you're not alone. Glenn says the one trick ponies are no good.
That exactly. What are you going to do? I'm going to elect S corp, and then they're electing S corp because that's what they were taught. And you have to, if you want to have a successful tax plan, you have to look at the client comprehensively. Everything. You can't just say, okay, I'm automatically going to do an S corp because they were on a Schedule C. Maybe they need to just stay on the Schedule C, right? Or maybe they need to skip S corp and go right to C corp. I don't know. You have to look at them comprehensively and don't just pull out the one trick that you know. That is not a tax plan. That is not a tax plan. You absolutely have to look at everybody differently. And by the way, I must say, Timalyn, yes, you have come and you participated, but you've also spoken. From the time I heard you, I said, "Oh, we need to hear her. We need to hear her speak." And that's why I've asked you to come back again and again to be on our panel and to talk because you know your stuff and you bring that element that people really need to hear on representation.
And I will be back soon. We're going to coordinate off this. I'm a theater mom now, so
Ooh,
musical tryouts are next week. So then we'll have practice schedule. because now the calls are when I'm in car ride or line. So I got to figure out when I can get there to be on stage.
Yes.
Um, Shoot, I was getting ready to say something.
Oh no.
I can't remember
I'm
now,
sorry.
but
But anyway, our next thing's coming up is a strong finish. So look for that in the fall because that's going to be big. And that's probably where you can be on a panel there. Because that's going to be great.
Denise said, thanks for putting this together, Timlin. Great conversation. Gotta run. No problem, Denise. Thanks for joining us. Oh, I know what I was going to say. And then we will have to go. Um, if you only have one trick in your bag, you have to make sure you actually know the trick.
That too.
Because when you don't look at everything, you end up creating rep work for us. I have a case right now that I am working a payroll case
Mm.
because the business owner was not advised that they needed reasonable compensation.
Hmm.
So I don't know if we are in the phase now where they really are going to start putting that hammer down.
Oh my
It's like
gosh.
you can't have six figures in distributions as an S corp and you're not on here with any type of wages. You have to look at everything, and
Everything.
it's true too with the C corp. But it's like, folks, you can't just make the election and leave. Like, you have to let people
Oh,
know
that too.
what their new obligations are.
That too. They elect the S corp and they leave the poor client hanging, and then they hang themselves because you didn't say payroll, you didn't say track my basis, you didn't say what fringe benefit rules there are, and these poor people are out there and they're like, I don't know, he made me an S corp because they think it's just giving them the strategy and walking away, and that is not
Hmm.
successful.
I was talking to a CPA Friday, and she said, "Well, why don't you like to do like partnerships, S corps, C corps, any of that anymore?" I
Hmm.
said, honestly, because I am not trying to go back to doing books. And in this age of QBO and AI bookkeeping, you all, if you don't have a traditional accounting background, I still love you. But if you are doing bookkeeping or business returns, you need some type of accounting 101 because the balance sheet has to balance. We need bases tracked. And I'm
Hmm.
like, people's books, if their business is under a certain age, I said, the books are trash. I said, so then I'm doing too many entries and stuff just to get the return done. Like, I don't even care to be paid for it. I don't want to do it.
Exactly. No, it's true.
I don't mind doing the book to tax difference, depreciation. We have all that kind of stuff, whatever with that. I'm talking about books just being trash. I got a nonprofit. I got the books. So I got a new bookkeeper. They went from one software to QBO, and the bookkeeper went to argue with me about why they had retained earnings.
Okay.
I said it's a nonprofit. I
It's
said
enough.
you unrestricted, restricted funds. They're like, no, because QuickBooks said, and I was like, well, here's the issue. You're telling me what QuickBooks said and not, that means you don't understand the accounting
And they
concept.
don't. Mm-mm. No. How sad.
So, yes, if it seems like a good client, I'll be like, hey, Angie, is this something you're interested in? Because
Right? Put it in the forum.
these are not for me. But I promised an hour. So I just want to say, Angie, thank you so much for joining me on here today. I really appreciate you taking the time to be here because I know, like we said, there's so much work for all of us to do. So I know you got other things that you could be doing right now.
Oh, that's so great. Thank you for having me. I hope it was informative and that your audience liked hearing what we had to say today.
Absolutely. And I will be sure that in the YouTube description, we have the Exec Touch link, as well as the link to your LinkedIn, Facebook, so
Mm,
people can keep up with what's going on over at the Executive Touch and get signed
yes.
up. There's still time to get signed up so you can join that 3 o'clock call today.
Come on. We growing. Let's go.
Thank you, Angie. And thank you to everybody who joined us today. I'll be seeing you all here on the channel on Sunday night at 8 p.m. for the next episode of my Enrolled Agent Career. Bye.
Bye.